Okay, guys, so like always, we're going to start off with the fundamentals of prospecting. Number one, you can make up in skills where you lack in number. I am a broken record. Practice makes perfect, and it's not just practice. If you practice the wrong thing, if you practice the wrong way, you're going to create bad habits. So the key here is to practice the right way so you develop the right habits. Now, number two, the person who asks the questions will always control the conversation. So if you're not the one asking the questions, you're not the one controlling the conversation. You always need to have that in your mind while you're having a conversation, because you really got to listen to be able to respond, acknowledge, and then ask a question. Number three, you can't change a person's perception or belief, only they can. Telling is not selling. The only way that you're going to get somebody to agree with your point of view is by asking them questions and taking them down a mind path to come to that conclusion on either yes, what you say does make sense, or no, what you say does not make sense. Number four, you don't have a lead until you know their why and when. You know, I have a lot of people, I know of a lot of people, when they practice role playing and an objection comes up, they automatically going into selling, and they automatically go into stating, and they go into telling. You don't know, you can't do anything until you know somebody's motivation and their time frame. And that's their why and when. When in doubt, mirror their objection as a question. Of course, if you get a question that goes sideways, then this is always great, but it is also good just to use deliberately as part of your talk track. And then six, you're never going to get any better without any type of practice. You may have natural ability. You do have people that are naturally comfortable in crowds and such, but those who practice will always outperform those who don't. And you'll always practice. Let me rephrase that. You're never going to perform at a level higher than what you practice. Think about that. When was the last time that you actually didn't practice at something and you just killed it, right? It doesn't matter. And if you did kill it, your bar is set really low. So you'll never get any better without practice. So with that said, let me pull up my other screen. I'm lost in my screens like usual. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and put everything on mute. Wade Wright!
Yeah, baby, what's up?
It's like you're on a walk.
How are you? Boy, is it that obvious? I'll mute this thing. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm going to mute everyone. So guys, if you need to talk, turn this into a walkie-talkie. Just hold down the space bar or just go ahead and unmute yourself. So the thing that I want to do a little bit different today, if I can find where it went, is every week I get, I put on, if I can find it. Hold on, guys. I got to pull it up. I'm in the wrong screen here. It disappeared. I thought I was ready. But even the best laid plans always have to have adjustments every now and then. But every week I ask people to put forth what they want to practice and what they're having challenges with, and to come up with objections that they want to work with. And I take the objections that we work on out of the week and I put those in the daily objections that we're working on. So I don't always hit them all. So what I want to do this morning is take last week's and just go down the aisle. And this will kind of give you an insight on how we do all of our scheduling. So it was week number, that's not what I want. I want this one. And let's go into here. It's loading up. It's taking longer than I always expected. Okay, so this will pop up. All right, guys. So here's where we're at. We're going to hammer down these. So I got 836 right now. We're going to hammer down these. I'm just going to hit these one at a time. So the first one, I'm brand new and need practice with the scripts, objections, commissions, FSBO, expired, etc. They are my early targets for listings. Okay, so that's not an objection, but here's the thing. When you're new, you've got to go really deep on your practice, and it's good practice, and you're going to be burning the candles at both ends. You got to get into the activities. You can't just practice, right? You can't become an expert at role playing. You've got to actually get into action. So with that, I would recommend that number one is being new. You've got to start with the end, right? You got to start with practicing your listing presentation, having your pre-listing packet ready, practicing your pre-qualification script, practicing your objection handlings, and then practicing your regular scripts, which is really your opening. If you notice, the scripts themselves all have the same type of questions. It's just the opening that's different. And you need to practice this. And now here's the thing. I would start off with your past client and sphere of influence. And then I would also do around just listed, just solds. Those are the lowest level of contacts. Your highest quality is your past client and sphere, but the lower level is the around listings and sales. And so I would start around those before you actually and get comfortable with those, cut your teeth on those before you dive into expireds and FSBO. And the reason why I say that is because, you know what? There are some good agents that are going up against the higher the quality of lead, the more competition you have, the more you need to bring your A game. So I wouldn't just dive into, the triple black diamond ski slope. I would start off on the bunny hill first with that. Okay, number 2, after the election, I think everything's going to tank, and I just want to wait until next year because we can't get it sold fast. That doesn't make any sense to me. After the elections, I think everything's going to take. Okay, definitely a possibility. And I want to wait until next year because we can get it sold that fast. If something's going to tank, which means that we're going to have downward pressure on prices, which means if we look at the Great Recession as any indicator, it was almost like a rock dropping with a little bit of wind, right? It just went. So after the elections, if you think something's going to tank, that is the exact reason why, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you need to consider selling, because homes don't sell quickly in a declining market unless you want to price your home ahead of the market. So my question to you is, do you want to sell now and give yourself 100% probability that you're going to sell your home for the most money in the quickest amount of time? Or do you want to wait and see if the market tanks? And if it does, you can start chasing the market down, which would cost you tens of thousands of dollars to chase the market down. Which one would work better for you, right? That's how I would handle it. I would probably throw in a technique called deflection. I would say, you know what, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I totally get it. A lot of people are thinking that the election is, after the election, the market's going to tank. So what most homeowners do, see, I'm not saying them, most homeowners, they're not going to want to chase the market down. They don't want to take the risk of losing tens of thousands of dollars on the possibility of chasing the market down. What most homeowners do in that situation is that they want to sell their home for the most money in the quickest amount of time. Is that true for you? Yes, Brett, that is true for me. Okay, so right now there's 100% probability that we can make that happen. Right now, not next year, not after the elections, not after Christmas, not after Easter, not after Santa Claus comes. It's right now. So do you want to take the 100% probability, or do you want to take the gamble? Notice my difference in, now I'm an infomercial. Do you want to take the 100% probability, or do you want to take the 50-50 gamble, right? It's all in the delivery. Guys, sales is theatrics. How you say it, it's a lot like acting, but that's what mostly sales is. It's the delivery of it. If you just say that monotone, hey guys, you have 100% probability of selling now, or you can take a gamble of, maybe chasing the market down, which would be better for you. That's not going to work, right? That's why we practice. Okay, please do one listing presentation. Yes, that's on the plan, but it's kind of outside the scope of this group, but I will do that. This one had no questions. A client with over $500 or more in equity. Okay, now I believe that that's either going to be, we're going to add a few zeros on that. Maybe 50,000, 5,000, 50,000, 25,000, 500,000 or more equity. Okay, guys, that objection is the same thing. One thing that we know for absolute certain, 100% absolute certain, that there is a lot of uncertainty going into next year. A lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of uncertainty going into next week. Like my dad's supposed to be coming down. He comes down and visits us every Thanksgiving. And, Thanksgiving is what, next month, like a month away. And there's uncertainty on that, right? So let alone into next year. So if someone has a ton of equity, the question comes in, do you want to sell your home in the quickest amount of time and maximize the net proceeds from that equity? Or do you want to start, you want to take the gamble that equity that you can get now is going to be less each and every month? Which one would be better for you, right? It's just the reframing of it. Now, here's the thing, guys. Not everybody's going to agree with you. Some people think that the risk that the market's going to do better. Look, I totally get it. That's up to them. Our job as professional salespeople is to outline the criteria. And really what we're doing through our frame of questionings is giving them this option A or option B. You want them to choose option A, but they might not agree with you. The market might have to kick them in the teeth a little bit harder, and then before they actually come over to your side. But you're going to have to do that. Need to pre-qualify with objections. Yeah, I don't get that. I do agree with it. You do need to okay. The pre-qualification script with objections. Okay, we do the pre-qualifying the listing presentation on Tuesdays. You should be doing objections. But here's the thing, you should be doing the objections. This should be real world practice. Don't do any laydowns, right? The goal here is to practice most realistic. When people role play with me, I'm not easy, right? I actually had someone tell me that Brett was being, what word? Challenging or something like that. Yeah, I'm challenging. I'm prospecting. I'm talking to people. I'm doing real world scenarios. I'm not doing laydowns, right? I want to practice the things that are the most challenging. And if you guys want challenging, call a real estate agent who 99% of the time is happy with where they're at. That's challenging. New ones. I don't know what new ones means. I'm guessing new objections. There are no new objections. There's just different objections of the same objections. You'll notice that the objections that we're going over are pretty much all the same. Wait until after the election. This is no different than wait until next year. This is no different than waiting for Santa Claus to come. This is no different than, waiting for the sun to rise in the west. There's few inventory, therefore I want to list high. Is my opportunity to get more money now? I want to wait until after the elections. Okay, that's two of them. Okay, we've already hit the I want to wait until after the elections. They're all the same. See, there's no different objections. All of these are coming from you guys. And all of you, these are coming from both Canada and the United States and every single time zone, right? So all the objections are the same, guys. Now, the only difference is the market. So you're going to have to adjust the objection for your market. But there is few inventory. Absolutely, there's few inventory. That's the exact reason why you want to sell, right? Do you want to wait until there's more inventory? Now, in our market, there's 32% fewer homes on the market than there was last year. Now, a lot of those homeowners are thinking the same way that you're thinking, that we want to wait until next year. We want to wait and see what happens, right? Same objection. But do you want to wait until, what would happen if those 32% came back on the market in a very short period of time, right? All of them say that they're going to be waiting. What happens if the market starts shifting and then all of a sudden now everybody's panicking, right? And now they're flooding the market. What's going to happen to prices? What's going to happen? That's the chasing the market down. What if only 10% of that 30% comes onto the market, or 5%, right? That's going to have a very different point of view. These are the questions you have to ask your seller. This is not information you tell them. This is information that you ask them. So those little brain, their little brain cells start firing, and they're like going, oh crap. Yeah. What would happen? Well, do you think that you're going to get, more money? Now, do you think it's wise if you were buying a home? Now we're going to sell this home. You're going to sell the home for the most money it's ever been worth in the history of forever, in the history of existence. Your home's never been worth more than right now. So when we go out and buy you a home, are you going to purposely go look at a house that is 20% overpriced? Are you going to do that? Well, no. Okay. So do you think that any seller in this market or any buyer in this market is going to go look at your house if it's 20% overpriced, given the market? Well, no. How good is good enough? Right? Okay. The letter M. That stands for Matsura. Period. Okay. Thanks. Closing objections. Okay. If you follow the process, guys, right, there are certain objections you get when you're doing cold outreach, and then you have your nurturing period, and then there are certain objections you're going to get there. And then you're going to send over your pre-meeting packet, which should outline and answer a lot of the general objections. And then through your pre-qualification, you should be resolving 90% of the deal killer objections in that process, so that when you're sitting down at the kitchen table, you should even actually have the I need to think about it objection already handled. Because when you're calling to confirm the appointment, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, when I come out and meet with you on Wednesday, when we go over this, if you feel comfortable and confident that I can get your home sold for the amount that you want, the time that you want, are you planning on listing your property with me when I come out? Silence. Next person who talks loses. Okay, but you're already handling that. Well, Brett, I think we're going to be listing. No one's going to say on the phone when you're previewing, well, I don't know. We're going to have to, meet with you and then think about it. Thinking about it is a blow off, right? This whole process, guys, is chipping away, right? You're naturally building rapport with them. You're naturally pushing your services, sharing your services with them, and you're naturally answering the objections that they don't even know that they have. We know that they have them because all sellers have the same objections. They might frame them different. They might have a different accent. They might say it a little bit faster or a little bit slower, but they're all going to be the same. You just got to make sure that you're the master of those. Whatever you teach, I like that. Tell me why I should list my house with you. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, that's okay. So here's the thing. This objection should not be coming up at the kitchen table. This objection should be coming up at your initial cold outreach. If this is coming at the kitchen table, you messed up the process. That's on you. Okay. Tell me why I should list your home with me. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, it's actually a really great question. A lot of homeowners who are looking to sell their home, it's important to know what somebody's doing. Now, what I'd like to do, if you're open to it, is to come out with you and share with you my 22-point awesome Brett's home selling plan and share with you exactly how I've sold X amount of homes in the last 20 years of my existence in the business. Now, would you be willing to meet with me sometime this week? Would you be willing to meet with me sometime this week? Now, Wade, you're going to vouch for me on this, is that Wade and I actually scheduled time to go have lunch, and I practice what I preach, right? I do the same process. This is no different than this. And Wade called me out on it because he's a professional. He practices. Sellers wanting to wait until next year. Guys, see, same one, already answered that one. I want to think it over tonight. Okay, if you're getting to the kitchen table and they need to think it over tonight, you didn't hit that objection beforehand, right? You didn't hit that in your pre-qualification. So if I did come to that, Mr. Seller, it's a big decision. I totally understand that you need to think it over. Now I'm saying I'm going through this like if I didn't get this resolved through the process. I need to think it over. I totally get it. Look, in my experience, most sellers who say that they need to think it over, what it means is that there are certain questions that they have answers to. So if you don't mind me asking, are there any questions, or what are the questions that you have that are lingering that you need to think over, so I may address those? Silence. Okay. Next person who talks loses. And now you're going to kind of pull that out of them. Okay. Now you can go a little deeper. Okay. So Mr. and Mrs. let me ask you something. Now that you've seen everything, you've seen my package, you've talked to me, you've checked my credentials. Do you feel that I am the agent? I have the experience and I have the credibility, and my awesomeness is good enough to sell your home? Do you feel that way? Well, yes, Brett, I certainly do. Or they're going to say no, which is good because now you can address it. But I'm going to assume that they say yes. Okay. So, and as far as the fee that I charge, is there any questions on that? I want to make sure that what I do is fair and it's a win-win situation. Every time I talk about money, it's always about fair. Number one, it's because it is all about fair, both to them and to me. But number two, I want them, the person in them, their subconscious, to start being in the frame of fair, right? For what I bring to the table, for the 20 years that I bring to the table, for my massive following that I bring to the table, do you think what I do is fair, right? There's only a few things that these guys need to think about. Number one is, do they think that you're the right agent to sell their home? And number two, is a fee that you charge fair? 9 times out of 10, I'm going to say that it's going to be the fee. right? Well, John Jones over at Help You Sell said that, or XYZ or Discount Sellers, whatever it is, said that they could do it for 4%. 4%. Okay. Now you have an objection, right? You pulled it out of them. You didn't want them simmering on that. Okay. So Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I totally get it. And again, I want to be fair. But as far as my credentials, you feel that I can sell your home in the right person. So aside from the money, all things being equal, you feel that I'm the right agent to sell your home, right? So if we could figure out the money thing, then we could probably work. Am I picking up what you're saying correctly? Well, yeah, if we could figure out the money, we make it work. Okay, so here's the thing. I've been doing this business, for 20 years. I've sold over 1,000 homes across 26 states. Input your credentials there, guys. You have to have your elevator pitch. So that is why I charge what it is that I charge. But I want to make sure it's fair. So what is it that you feel is fair based on my credentials? Put it on them, right? Don't try and sell until you know what the real objection is. Put it on them. Find out what they feel is fair. Okay, so we're going to move on. Want to wait until after the holidays. Are you guys starting to see a pattern on this? What other sources of business are working well beyond the basis of expireds for sale by owners, just listed, just sold, past client SOIs? How many more else do you need? But I'm going to throw it out there. Divorces. A lot of people are getting divorced right now. A lot of people realize that they don't like each other being in confinement, so they're getting divorced. So there's that. People are still dying. So you have probate issues. There's still that. Let me see, expired for sale by owners, just listed, non-owner occupied, right? Investors, non-owner occupies who live out of state. Those are great. Defaults. We're seeing an increase in defaults. So if you start going after these people before the court system starts thawing out, there's a lot of people with equity that have severe delinquencies. You can go after that. So there's like 5. I do want to say something. When you get more specific, it requires a higher level of skill set, right? You can't just be a generalist in real estate and try to jump into divorces, try to jump into probate, try to jump into defaults, because that takes a special set of skills, right? It's like a general practitioner trying to do brain surgery. Now, I hope you're not smart enough to do that. Some people go off to Mexico and do the back alley thing and they end up having their face fall off. Don't do that. Excellent expired scripts. You know what? We do that. Sharpen my saw. Awesome. I don't want to work with you. Look, that could be a condition, guys. I totally get it. A lot of people don't want to work with me. But if you don't mind me asking, what is it about me that you don't want to work with? Am I too awesome for you? I don't know. You have to ask that. Who would ever consider objection handlers 8:30? What time zone? Guys, we're in Canada and the United States, and we're across all the time zones. So I would say no, because I do this at 8:30. It'd be easier for me to do this after the fact, but it works. You make time for things that are important. And if that 30 minutes is a major thing, then what you're saying is that there's something more important. But Brett, I prospect during that time. Scientifically, I can send you guys a report. The best time to prospect for somebody to answer the phone is between the hours of 10 and 2. Now, I know that there's a lot of people who punch out and go to the gym in the afternoon. So what I would say is, let's make the gym less important and practice more important. Prospect between the hours of 10 and 2, get your A game, become better. And as you become better, you don't need to worry about the half hour because your skill set, remember, you can make up in skill where you're lacking numbers. That's my thought. We want to wait until after the election. Oh my God, how many times do we have to go through that one? Will you reduce your commission? The other agents say they will. Yeah, you know what, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is where I would go back into it. Whew, I'm almost done. This is going good. Will you reduce your commission? The other agents say they will. Okay, a lot of ways we can do this. We hit this already. Again, the objections are no different. I appreciate the fact that, XYZ is willing to reduce their commission. If you don't mind me asking, do you feel that I am the right agent? I have the experience and the amount of awesomeness I have is enough to sell your home? Yes. So money aside, you feel that I'm the right agent for you? Yes, Brett, I do. Okay. So if we figure out the money, we can go. Yes, we can go forward if we figure out the money. Okay. So this is why I charge what I charge, because here's my whole thing of awesomeness again. What is it that you feel is not fair about that? Put it on them. At least you start a point. Now, you are going to lose on money. You get to make a business decision on what you charge for your fee. And the people who typically do that are the ones who have the least amount of business that don't have the market share. So you might have to compete on money a little bit. When you're new, you're going to have to provide more services at a cheaper cost until your experience catches up with your production. It's just the way it is. And here's the thing. It's true in every sales organization. Doesn't matter if you're selling houses. It doesn't matter. That's just how it works. Commission and FSBO. Already talked about that. My realtor is my best friend. She would kill me to go with someone. Look, that is probably a condition. I would still go with it. I would still kind of, take my swing at bat. But the reason why we work with your past client and sphere of influence is to have a person that would say that. So don't hate the player, hate the game, right? There are other people that have that bond that they won't work with you. Now you can work with them and start chipping away over time, but you have to, through your line of questioning, that might be a condition, because you want it to be a condition when you're working with them. And the last one, we want to sell only after we find a house to buy. Okay, Mr. and Ms. Seller, I totally get it, and it makes sense on why that would do that. This is where I would go into the different market, right? This is where I would go into different options. As a sales professional, you make the bigger the problem, the more money you make. Come up with a solution. It makes sense that they only want to buy after they sell. That makes total sense. But can they rent? I don't know, Brett. I don't know if they can rent. We'll ask the question, right? Well, what would happen if you couldn't sell your home? You have to ask the different scenarios. I totally get that what time is it? We want to sell. I totally get that you want to sell your home first before you buy your next one. If you don't mind me asking, most homeowners want to sell their home for the most money and top dollar. Is that true for you? Yes. Okay. So if you buy in this market, do you want to buy at the most money as well? No, I want to buy at the least amount of money. Okay. So is it possible for you to sell now, rent later, with a lot of confusion that's going on to the market next year? Can you rent short term? I don't know. I never thought about that. Okay. Or, okay, well, would you like to go out and actually start looking at homes today and see what we can find? Okay, so there's the options. All right, guys, I don't have time to take questions today. My schedule is pretty tight today, but that was like rapid fire objection handling. And I think the winner of that, I didn't keep count, but like 6, where I want to wait until next year. Now, again, we're in North America. We're all in North America, Canada, United States, across all time zones. These are objections that are coming in. And that is like the #1 objection that people are getting, that are practicing. Become a master at it. Practice that one. That's what I got for today. I appreciate all of you that watched this live. I didn't have time to put this live on Facebook, but you'll be able to catch the replay on there in the Facebook group. I'll have that up by the end of the day. So I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you guys get some appointments, close some deals, and I will catch you next Tuesday. Take care.